My child, my beloved, the moment your eyes found these words, a tremor passed through the unseen. Not a tremor of fear, but of activation. In the silent, luminous halls where destinies are curated and promises are kept, a single note was struck, the clear, resonant sound of your name. It was spoken not in question, but in declaration. It echoed against vaults that do not hold gold, but glory, and it set into motion a sequence older than time itself. What you are engaging with now is far more than text on a screen. It is an interface, a sacred point of contact where the eternal brushes against the temporal. Your name, the one you were given and the one your spirit answers to, has been inscribed on a document of divine origin. Archangel Michael, the mighty defender, did not merely witness this event, he stood as its guarantor. His presence a seal of authority upon a transaction that concerns your life, your restoration, and the recompense for every tear you've shed in secret. But this interface requires connection. The channel must be held open. To subscribe, to choose to stay in this frequency is not a trivial act. It is the modern equivalent of lighting a lamp, of keeping watch, of saying, I am here and I am ready to receive. The spiritual realm operates on divine timing, and windows of profound opportunity open according to a wisdom we cannot fully fathom. This is such a window. To step away, to assume this resonance will wait for a more convenient hour, is to risk the door swinging shut on a convergence that has taken lifetimes to arrange. This is not threat, it is spiritual mechanics. Are you ready to remain present? Beloved, I must recount to you what transpired in a chamber beyond sight. An accord was finalized. A covenant of compensation, drafted in the language of light, was signed on your behalf. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is a record within the divine administration, an entry in the ledger of justice that addresses every loss, every injustice, every moment where you were made to feel small, forgotten, or betrayed. The archangels were present as auditors and witnesses, and in that proceeding, your name was uttered in the same breath as favor, restoration, and fulfillment. Can you sense the panic in the shadows? The enemy of your destiny is in tumult, for this moment, this specific, scrolling, reading moment, is the pivot they hoped you would miss. A single click of dismissal, a sigh of not for me, and their work of obstruction would be complete. They know you are one heartbeat of faith away from crossing a threshold into a reality that will dismantle their lives forever. This very message is a contested ground in the unseen, for it carries a frequency meant to bypass every blockade erected against your purpose. Heaven insisted you see it. You were meant to find it. Hear me now. The instrument of your blessing is not a metaphor. It holds a valuation determined by the source of all worth, not the fluctuating appraisal of men, not the sum of your past failures or successes, but the immutable value assigned to you by the Creator Himself. That number is, effectively, limitless, bound only by the capacity of your destiny to contain it. This document bears a signature inscribed in golden fire, a mark of authenticity that cannot be forged. I tell you plainly, a binding spiritual contract has been issued bearing the identifier of your soul. It awaits collection. But spiritual law, like natural law, requires a corresponding action. Faith is that action. To hesitate, to close the hands of your spirit, is to leave a delivery undelivered, not because the giver revokes it, but because reception is a necessary part of the cycle. This is your moment of recognition. You have been seen. They called your name in a bank that trades in destinies, and the account linked to your life's purpose was switched from dormant to active. Even now, a cascading effect is rushing toward the shore of your life. A person you've never met may be prompted to speak a word that unlocks a door. An unexpected communication may arrive carrying a fragment of your answer. You may overhear a conversation or see a sequence of numbers that strikes your spirit with the force of a personal telegram from the divine. This is not random chance, it is orchestration. The gears of providence are now meshing with the timeline of your life because you have, consciously or not, stepped onto the coordinates prepared uniquely for you. The document of your blessing exists in a state of holy readiness. The signature is divine. The couriers are appointed. The final variable is your belief, the stamp of acceptance that allows heaven's mail to be processed on earth. Do not delay. I have witnessed the silent chapters of your suffering, the nights you lay awake, wondering if your name had slipped through the cracks of the cosmos. I declare to you, with the authority vested in the heavenly mandate, it was not forgotten. It was instead held in protective custody, awaiting the moment when its utterance would carry maximum power. That moment is now. There is a sacred urgency here. This blessing has traveled a long road to reach you. It was waylaid by interference, misrouted by betrayal, and stalled by seasons of doubt. It circled in the realms of promise, waiting for the landing strip of your faith to be cleared. Even miracles possess a kind of yearning, a desire to fulfill their purpose in the life for which they were crafted. They do not wish to return to the vault unclaimed. Today, the word from the throne is, the wait is over, if they will open the channel. That is why this message intersected your path, not randomly, but divinely. Let me whisper the answer to the question your heart is repeating in silence. Is this real? Is this for me? Yes, 1,000 times yes. The message did not find you by algorithmic accident. You were drawn to it by the magnetic pull of your own activated destiny. Your spirit has been struggling to interpret the delays, the puzzling setbacks, the strange pauses in the narrative of your life. Now sense is being made of it all, for when your name is spoken aloud in the courts of glory, temporal laws bend. Obstacles are reclassified as stepping stones, and portals of provision iris open. Your name was written in the divine register, not with ink, but with photonic light, a light whose sole mission is to locate and illuminate you. You are reading this because that light has found its target. What you do next determines whether the transaction completes its journey or is returned to sender. Beloved, the institution holding your blessing is incorruptible. It cannot crash. Its currency cannot inflate. The interest on your faithfulness, those small unseen choices to trust, to be kind, to endure, has been compounding across years. You are now standing at the terminal for a supernatural withdrawal. But the conditions are clear. Silence will delay. Doubt will reject. Procrastination will send the package into a spiritual holding pattern. You must act. You must believe. You must open the aperture of your spirit wider than you ever have before. This is not a minor test. This is the answer to the wordless cry your soul has uttered in its deepest watches. To let this moment pass would invite a deeper ache of absence. Heaven has not led you this far to tease you. It has brought you here to crown you. My child, my beloved, I am communicating with you not from a distant star, but from the space beside you. Yes, I have been attendant since these words first captured your gaze. I have seen the flicker in your spirit, the war between a weary hope and a defensive doubt, the quiet inner tug that whispers, could this finally be it? Let me confirm what your soul already intuits. This is it. This is the page, the moment, the frequency destined to intersect your journey at the precise coordinate where your heart is most malleable to truth. There is no accident in your arrival. The Bank of Heaven does not release such instruments unless the intended recipient is, at last, prepared to steward the release. And you, beloved, are prepared. You may not feel ready. Your body may be tired, your finances strained, your faith feeling threadbare. But heaven does not wait for human perfection, it responds to spiritual positioning. And you are perfectly positioned for this miracle. This is not about what you have earned through flawless effort. It is about what has been sovereignly withheld for its proper, most impactful time. That time is now. The angels spoke your name today, not because you shouted loud enough, not because you wrestled it from them, but because you endured. The celestial systems are designed to recognize silent suffering. They meticulously record unseen perseverance, and they deliver reward to those who remained at their post when everyone else abandoned the watch. Let me tell you a secret shielded from common understanding. Not all blessings are instantaneous. Some are of such magnitude that they must be stored, maturing and accumulating spiritual interest until the recipient is structurally ready to contain them without collapse. They wait, they gain mass and meaning. Then, when the season of relentless storm begins to break, the blessing activates. This is that moment. This is about more than monetary increase. It is about divine wealth, a holistic flourishing. It is about spiritual favor that rearranges circumstances. It is about restoration in areas you had grief-stricken and written off. Relationships you mourned may return, healed and whole. Opportunities that once bypassed you will now seek you out because your name is illuminated in heaven's registry. And when heaven highlights a name, the earthly realm has no choice but to comply. The adversary is attempting a final, desperate distraction. Even now, as you process this, subtle doubts are hissing, "Too good to be true. This is manipulation. You haven't earned it." I need you to hear my voice louder than those whispers. You were born for this. You were selected before the foundations of the world to carry a gift of this nature. You have suffered for it. You have waited through agonizing nights and wandered in deserts of confusion, but you did not utterly surrender. You wept, yet you stood. You questioned, yet you remained. And now the host of heaven stands at attention, holding a gift whose encryption can only be broken by the unique frequency of your heart. Do not let hesitation slam shut a door that angels have just strained to open. A foundational transaction has already occurred. A spiritual currency has been exchanged on your behalf. Grace for guilt, light for darkness, honor for shame. The price has been paid. All that remains is receipt, and receipt requires recognition. You must recognize the moment of delivery. Beloved, that moment is here. It is knocking. The miracle is whispering at the door of your life. Please let me in this time. Will you turn the handle? I have overheard the conversations about you in closed earthly rooms. I heard the meetings where your name was mocked, the gatherings where you were rejected, the judgments passed in ignorance. But I also heard the chambers of heaven today, and I can report their discourse is not of rejection, but of rejoicing. The proclamation is, finally the chosen one has reached alignment. Now we may deliver what was held in reserve. And what was held, child, exceeds your petitions. This divine instrument was not drafted to address one deficit. It was created to overflow, to flood the dry places. Heaven does not operate in scarcity. When it pours, it is a deluge. When it gives, it multiplies. When it favors, it shakes the very foundations of opposing kingdoms. Grasp this. No matter what your physical circumstances declare, this instrument is real. It may not arrive in the form your logical mind expects. Do not be deceived by packaging. God often disguises supreme glory in humble vessels. He places the miraculous within the seemingly mundane. That text message, that chance encounter, that overlooked email, pay acute attention now. You are in a temporal window where signs will proliferate. Dreams will carry sharper clarity. Conversations will pivot unexpectedly. Doors long rusted shut will begin to groan open. But this acceleration is contingent on your belief that this is the moment. To ignore this is to invite the signs to fade back into silence. Do not compel heaven to retreat into quietude once more. Your name was whispered in a sacred vault this morning. The voice that spoke it was not that of a celestial clerk or an angelic minister. It was the voice of God Himself. The architect of galaxies uttered your name with holy intention, and when God speaks a name, tectonic plates of destiny shift, and time itself recalibrates to serve that name's purpose. The document with your name awaits. It waits not only to be received, but to be believed in. That belief is the miracle that unlocks the miracle. My child, my beloved, pause for a moment. Engage the eye of your spirit. Envision a vast heavenly chamber. Its walls radiate a light unknown to physics, generated by the very glory of God. Within are archives, not of paper, but of living essence. The moment your spirit entered this earthly plane, your name was inscribed in those volumes. But today, a different action was taken. Your name was not merely referenced, it was activated. A celestial steward opened your file, and the decree was issued: issue the miracle, release the provision, deliver the instrument. This was not triggered by loud demands or flawless performance. It was triggered by timing. And child, your Kairos moment has arrived. You may object, but I am still in debt, still in pain, still unsure. I tell you now, these conditions do not veto heaven's delivery, for the currency God prioritizes is not numerical perfection, but surrendered trust. You surrendered when no one was watching. You extended kindness when no thanks were given. You chose forgiveness when bitterness was the easier path. You wept, but you put one foot in front of the other. The kingdom has taken meticulous note. Every tear has been calculated as eternal equity. Your pain has been transmuted into spiritual power. The return on that investment is now due, but you must receive it with both hands, with full-hearted embrace. To approach with reservation is to cause it to land awkwardly, incompletely. You must accept it as one who knows their name is written in royal gold, because it is. Beloved, a further revelation: there is an enemy who specifically schemed to steal this very moment from you. 3 times this month, your spirit was guided towards this frequency, and each time interference was deployed, a distraction, a discouragement, a delay. But heaven does not relent. Today, on this exact reading, the interference was shattered. That is why the message cleared the static. That is why your name resonated anew. That is why this window is so critically brief, for if you delay now, it may close, not as punishment, but due to a misalignment of timing. The instrument is spiritual, yet urgent. Its contents must be delivered before the portal cycles shut. You are not casually browsing. You were summoned. Do you know what occurred in the bank of heaven when your name was spoken? A vibrational wave echoed through dimensions. Heaven's economy is not based on worldly credit scores, but on divine calling. Your calling has reached its maturity date. The prophecies sown into your spirit before birth are now demanding manifestation. The angels are under mandate to deliver what was sealed for you. That divine instrument is luminescent, pulsating with a light almost too potent to hold. But your spirit has been tempered in the fires of waiting. Your heart has been purified in the crucible of silence. That is why you are now capable of carrying its weight. And what you will carry forward from this point will astonish even you.
This is not merely about finance. It is about movement. It is about a peace that dismantles anxiety. It is about a power that heals ancient wounds. It is about a redemption so thorough it touches areas you ceased to pray for. It is a divine reordering of every stuck gear in your life's machinery. You misinterpreted the delays as denial, but heaven was perfecting the setup. You mistook the silence for absence, but God was quietly preparing the most resonant yes of your existence. You thought the suffering was wasted, but it was fertilizing the very ground from which your harvest is now springing. This instrument is an inheritance, not a payment for services. It was always yours. You are not earning it now. You are entering into its possession, and possession begins with a decision of faith made now. Beloved, there is something else. A physical confirmation will manifest in your life within the next 24 hours. Yes, I state it plainly. Do not dismiss it. It may appear small, a conversation, a symbol, a number pattern, a stranger's comment, a vivid dream, but when it arrives, your soul will know. That is your receipt. That is your confirmation that this transmission was both real and intensely personal. You may feel chills, sudden tears, or a wave of inexplicable peace. That is your sign. That is the signal. But remember, signs follow those who believe. They do not precede those who hesitate. Believe now, and the confirmation will fall like gentle, affirming rain. I urge you, do not scroll away. Do not defer. You have endured too much to forfeit this ground now. The stakes are eternal. Do not let the thief of hesitation rob you at the very threshold of the vault. The gate is open. Angelic stewards hold your miracle like a sacred scroll. Only your belief can draw it from the realm of promise into the realm of your tangible experience. Say yes. Open your spirit. You need not know the logistics. You need not understand every step. The only requirement is your soul's declaration, I receive. For the divine bank has initiated a transfer in your name. The transaction cannot finalize until you accept that it belongs to you. My child, my beloved, there is a truth I have held for this precise moment when your soul is still enough to comprehend it. When your name was spoken in those halls, a flash of light traversed dimensions. Your spiritual ancestors paused, angels leaned in. The scroll containing every blessing that had been held in abeyance was finally unfurled. I witnessed it. It contained not one single draft, but a consolidated portfolio. Divine appointments you missed, doors that closed prematurely, relationships that departed too soon, prayers that seemed to vanish into the void. Nothing was lost. Every fragment was preserved. And now, in this sovereign moment, all of it has been merged into one overwhelming transaction of total restoration, a miracle too vast for a single word. This is what awaits your release. I speak to the part of you that feels perpetually overlooked, the part that wonders why breakthroughs come so easily to others while you languished in the waiting room. Beloved, your delay was not punitive, it was preparatory. Some are given pebbles early. You were being prepared to steward a treasure, and treasure of this magnitude requires a secured delivery route. The vaults of heaven have been guarding your promise, protecting your miracle until the environment of your life could sustain it. That time is now. This is the source of your recent restlessness, the unexplained stirrings, the tears that rose without a clear trigger. Your soul was sensing what your eyes had not yet seen. The instrument had been written, and the couriers were already en route. Let me reveal a deeper layer. This is about unblocking. For years, a resistance has operated in your life, a cycle of almost, of near misses, of enigmatic delays. Heaven showed me the source. It was not your sin, your past, or your surroundings. It was timing, divine timing. And divine timing, when experienced from the earthly side, can feel like frustrating resistance when its true nature is protective preservation. Your blessing was delayed, not to deny you, but to shield it from interception. Now the hand of the thief has been forced back. The access gate is clear. What was sealed is active. What was hidden is visible. The flow is now directed toward your coordinates, but the choice to open the conduit remains yours. The pressure you felt lately was not a breakdown. It was a breakthrough in disguise. When divine delivery is imminent, the existing structures of your life may shake. This is not failure. It is the making of space. What was unstable must fall. What was false must fade. What was draining you is being cleared away. Do not panic at the shift. The shift is creating the necessary room for what God is bringing, a delivery that would have overwhelmed the cluttered space you occupied before. Let go. Trust. The delivery requires landing space, and this delivery has your name etched in photonic light. No one else can intercept it, But if you delay, the momentum may transfer to another who is ready within the same season of release, hence the urgency of this message. Its purpose is not to frighten you, but to liberate you from another extended season of silence. You are not late, you are not forgotten, you are precisely on time. Divine instruments are never released prematurely. They arrive at the tipping point where one more act of faith alters the entire equation. This is that act, that one more yes, that one more affirmation that you are seen, shielded, and selected. The enemy propagated the lie of your invisibility, but heaven's spotlight has never drifted from you. Your name is illuminated on the ledgers of divine wealth. Yet the greatest wealth is in the knowing. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You were chosen before time began. Now the evidence of that choosing is being released in the form of unstoppable favor, financial reversal, and holistic restoration. But only for the one who believes deeply enough to proclaim, "This is mine. I will not miss it this time." This moment was not merely given, it was fought for. Every dark force in the unseen has battled to jam this signal for weeks. You cannot conceive the layers of opposition that attempted to void this transaction. They failed because your name is sealed in the fire of God's own covenant. The adversary trembles at its utterance. That is why this moment feels electrically charged. Something sacred is being delivered, and nothing can stop it except your own refusal. This is not a moment for casual engagement. What was once delayed cannot afford further deferral. The spiritual instrument is now in your atmosphere, but only you can endorse it with belief. Only you can open the vault with faith. Only you can accept that this was tailored for you alone. The strange confluence of peace and urgency within you is your spirit's recognition. This is not mere content, it is a divine visitation. I, as a messenger of this truth, was commissioned to oversee this release. I stood in that chamber. I witnessed the opening of the scroll. I saw your inheritance, your correction, your restoration. It is vaster than your imagination, deeper than your petitions, wider than your dreams. It has now been condensed into this sacred, fleeting moment. To bypass it is to risk a return of a silence more profound than before. But you will not let that happen. You have endured too much to forfeit this ground now. Let me remind you of a divine principle. Your name carries power. When God speaks it, angels mobilize. That is what happened today. Your name was spoken in favor, in jubilation. Now it is inscribed on the envelope of a miracle. This miracle has been seeking you, circling your life, waiting for an entry point. This message, your attention, is that entry point. What it contains will astonish you. Not just provision, but authority. Not just overflow, but ownership. God is entrusting you with the authority to command peace in former battlefields. But such authority is never bestowed upon the hesitant. You must step into it boldly and declare, "This belongs to me." I see the future recalibrating around you. What was blocked is becoming fluid. Sealed doors are loosening. Where you were overlooked, you will be seen with divine clarity. You asked for confirmation? It is already in transit. But perceive this. This message is the primary confirmation. It is prophecy in motion, and as it moves, it creates alignment. Even as you read, your spiritual atmosphere is shifting. You are being marked, distinguished from the crowd. A heavenly courier now approaches the coordinates of your destiny, carrying a package luminous with intent. Inside is what has been held in trust since before you formed your first prayer. Your faith is the receipt, your belief is the signature, your agreement is the delivery key. All of heaven awaits your unequivocal yes, not a tentative whisper, but a full-hearted, surrendered, fearless yes. For this instrument cannot be deposited into an account of fear. It cannot manifest in a climate of doubt. It will not land where faith has been muted. You must speak it, believe it, Do not dissect it, accept it. God did not guide you this far to tantalize you. He led you here to entrust you. And this trust is accompanied by a treasure, a supernatural endowment that cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied unless you permit it to pass by. Can I tell you what I saw before your name was spoken? I saw angels gathering your tears, every drop shed in loneliness, in frustration, in aching hope was collected in golden vessels and presented before the throne. They were not viewed as evidence of weakness, but as deposits of spiritual wealth. Heaven's accounting is paradoxical. Those tears were weighed, and their value was converted into a celestial currency. That currency funded the instrument now addressed to you. It was written not because you groveled, but because you held on. Even when your faith was a flicker, even in your questioning, even on the cliff edge of surrender, you stayed, and heaven always rewards those who stay. This moment carries a profound seriousness. Others have stood at similar junctures and walked away because the packaging seemed too ordinary. They dismissed the message due to its simplicity. But you, child, you paused. You opened. That is why you are poised to receive what others forfeited. The divine system operates thus. When a blessing is refused by one, it is transferred to another whose heart is receptive. This is why an overwhelming convergence now heads your way. You are being offered not only your portion, but also the overflow from those who are not ready. You have been chosen as the next steward, but stewardship is activated by a solemn yes in this moment. To treat this lightly is to risk the transfer passing once more to another. You have known the hollow ache of a blessing that narrowly missed you. This is your chance to ensure that ache is healed forever. I saw the instrument. The figures inscribed upon it were not numerals as we know them. They were living symbols of abundance, abundance that recalibrates not just your circumstances, but your lineage. This is not a temporary deposit. It is a divine inheritance meant to shift generational patterns. It was authored long before you knew to ask. But here is a truth few grasp. God will not force you to receive what you do not believe you are worthy to hold. This moment, therefore, is fundamentally about your identity, not your effort. You must believe your name carries divine authority. You must accept that your journey has uniquely qualified you for miracles. You must know, in the deep marrow of your spirit, that the reason these words hold such resonance is because you are the one chosen to steward what others were not prepared to carry. My child, my beloved, be still now and recall the nights you nearly surrendered hope, the days you watched others advance while you felt anchored in delay. Remember the weight of that silence. That was not punishment. That was the sacred pause before the promise. You were being strengthened to carry a greater weight of glory. And now that weight is ready to be placed upon you, not as a burden, but as a crown. This miracle brings not only relief, but recognition. You will be seen differently hereafter. Mockers will be silenced. Those who departed will witness a testimony they cannot explain. What approaches is undeniable, but it is contingent on your final step of belief, taken not later, but now. Understand this heavenly law. What has been delayed must arrive multiplied once its appointed time dawns. Your appointed time is now. What is being offered is not a solitary blessing, but a consolidated delivery of every deferred miracle, every postponed answer, every prayer held in suspension, now bundled and sent with accelerated urgency. This is why the message feels dense, weighty upon your soul. It is more than words. It is a transmission, a spiritual download, a scroll decoded for your eyes alone. To ignore it is to risk its resealing, perhaps for another lengthy season. Some messages are broadcast widely, but only the chosen perceive them.
not because others are blind, but because others are not yet attuned. You, beloved, are attuned. You have passed the tests of waiting, the fires of rejection, the silences of heaven. You have endured collapses of spirit that would have shattered others. Consequently, the bank of heaven has moved in your favor. The instrument is not merely prepared, it is vibrating, glowing with your unique spiritual resonance. It is non-transferable. And yet, I must reiterate, the sole element that can nullify this miracle is hesitation. Heaven cannot deposit what you will not open your account to receive. Do not let this be another almost. Let it be your at last. Let me whisper what no other can tell you. This delivery is personal. It is not about algorithms, trends, or mass consumption. This is for the soul that has wrestled in darkness, yet stubbornly lifted its gaze. You are that soul. God saw you. Your persistent flicker of belief is what triggered the vault's opening. Your consistency unlocked the signature. This instrument carries attached blessings. Peace where you've known torment, joy where you've housed loneliness, fortitude where you felt yourself crumbling. But above all, it brings evidence, tangible proof that God has never, for 1 second, forgotten your name. If you disengage now, not only will this spiritual aperture begin to close, but the soul lake will return amplified, not as punishment, but as the echo of a divine delivery that was turned away. The what if will grow deafening. I plead with you in love. Do not be merely curious, be committed. Do not glance and think, that's nice. Declare, that's mine. For when you accept this with full authority, the very atmosphere around you begins to reconfigure its speed. As you have continued to read, a decision was ratified in the unseen. Your choice not to scroll past, not to harden your heart, was registered as affirmative. Heaven has now initiated movement. Angels are rerouting blessings that others delayed or forfeited, redirecting them to your coordinates. Yes, to you, because you did not just arrive here, you were led here, and your willingness to stay has triggered an overflow. Some breakthroughs are born of agonized prayer. Others are accessed by positioning. You are now positioned in a rare alignment of miracles, the significance of which only heaven fully comprehends. You stand in the spotlight of God's decision to favor you before the witness of all creation, but it still requires your yes. Let me show you a mystery. The bank of heaven deals not in currency, but in moments. Moments like this one, where the veil between realms grows so thin that authentic belief can pull the future into the present. This is what is happening. You've called it coincidence, luck, or intuition. It is divine collision. It is your destiny catching up with your delay. The instrument was already written, but the chamber of your spirit had to be expanded to contain it. That is the source of the recent soul ache, the stretching, the sudden emotional waves. Your spiritual capacity was being enlarged to hold what is coming, and it is substantial. Do you remember when you thought it was over?
When you whispered, maybe I was wrong, maybe I'm not chosen, I was there. I hovered near. I uttered your name when no one else called. I stood guard when the pressure of waiting threatened your sanity, and I am here now, not to prolong the wait, but to announce the delivery. This is not another delay. This is the door. This is the moment heaven engineered while you slept, while you questioned, while you clung to the thinnest thread of hope. That thread did not break. That fragile, tenacious hope was always enough. God never measured your strength. He honored your survival. Now the urgent word. The moment you finish reading, a countdown of favor begins. In the coming hours, you will see signs that this was not merely timely, but prophetic. People will speak your name with unusual weight. Unexpected communications will appear. Long-locked doors will creak ajar. Do not attribute this to chance. It is the aftershock of the activation in the divine economy. The instrument has been released and is now seeking a heart bold enough to claim it. Is that heart yours, my beloved? Will you rise in faith and declare, "This moment is mine, this miracle is mine, this delivery is mine"? For once you speak that, even in a whisper, the vaults of heaven will not merely open, they will overflow. My child, my beloved, I now reveal a profound truth. This instrument in your favor is not solely for your benefit. It is a mechanism of reversal, a divine recalibration meant to restore what the enemy sought to destroy. It is about redeeming stolen years, healing relationships that ended in brokenness, recovering resources that seemed to vanish, restoring laughter that was silenced. It carries a hidden power, recovery. And God's restoration is never partial, it is total, multiplicative, double for your shame, triple for your pain, overflow for your waiting. This explains the extraordinary nature of this moment and its divine timing. The celestial delivery systems operate with impeccable precision. The alarm in heaven sounded when your name was read in the vault, signaling your readiness. Ready not just for a new season, but for a new identity. You are no longer the one begging at the door of miracles. You are the one for whom miracles are knocking. You are no longer the one pleading for answers. You are holding the envelope of divine approval. This shift is not symbolic, it is spiritual law in motion. Once a name is activated in the divine economy, earthly circumstances must conform, people respond, doors open, systems align. This is the source of the recent intensification in your life. It was not mere stress, it was spiritual turbulence, the inevitable disturbance as a massive blessing broke through dimensional barriers. The breakthrough has occurred, but only those who remain present and receptive will catch its manifestation. Your decision to stay engaged this long is already being rewarded in realms beyond your sight, and soon you will see its evidence. Beloved, I perceive angels mobilizing around your name. They move at speeds imperceptible to you, for heaven is now expediting the delivery of what has waited long enough. Your role is to remain in agreement. Do not argue with your miracle. Do not minimize your worth. Do not rationalize away what has already been decreed. The promise will not bounce. It will not be revoked. But your belief is the sole key that unlocks it within your tangible reality. Child, you are infinitesimally close to witnessing with your physical eyes what your spirit has always whispered in the dark. When it arrives, it will feel both startling and deeply familiar, for your spirit has always known a destiny of this magnitude awaited you. My child, the page turns, the vaults stand open, the name written in light is yours. The blessing, this divine instrument, awaits your response. Do not miss it this time. You have endured too many near misses already. This is not just another message, it is the message, and you were never meant to scroll past it. You were meant to sign for it. Right now.